All right, so you want to get more done each day,
Who doesn't?
right?
Yeah.
And so you brought this Boost Your Productivity Quick Start Guide.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Like it's pretty practical, actually.
Yes.
There's a lot of actionable things.
Okay.
And the first thing I like is the disclaimer.
Oh, really?
It's like, this is not the be-all, end-all. This is a starting point.
I like that approach.
Yeah, use this as a way to kind of figure out your own WN system.
Right.
So let's deep dive into this and see if we can both work smarter, not harder.
Sounds good to me.
So the first thing that popped out to me was this idea of like quieting the mind,
Okay.
eliminating distractions,
Ah.
not just physical ones, but also mental ones.
Right.
And they really stress sleep
Of course.
for focus.
Yeah.
We talk about it like mental energy is a resource.
It totally is.
Yeah.
It's like anything else, you only have so much of it.
So it's not unlimited.
Nope. You got to recharge.
Just like if you're working out a muscle.
Exactly. You wouldn't expect to just keep lifting weights all day, every day without a break.
You'd get injured.
Exactly.
So you're saying our brains are kind of the same way.
Absolutely. They need downtime to recover and rebuild.
So what about those people who brag about only needing like 4 hours of sleep?
That's an interesting question.
Are they like superhuman? Or
I think it's important to distinguish between surviving and thriving.
okay,
Some people can function on minimal sleep.
for a while.
Exactly. But in the long run, it's going to catch up to them.
Oh, so they're not really thriving.
Not-
They're just barely getting by.
Right. Chronic sleep deprivation can have a huge impact on cognitive function,
Okay.
mood, even physical health.
Whoa.
So it's not just about getting enough sleep.
It's about recognizing how essential it is for like peak mental performance.
Exactly.
Like putting premium fuel in your car,
I like that analogy.
you get better mileage and performance.
Right.
Listener, you getting enough premium fuel?
And it's not just the quantity of sleep,
Right.
but also the quality.
Oh, yeah.
Tossing and turning all night isn't the same as a solid 7 or 8 hours of deep sleep.
Right.
That deep restorative sleep.
Okay, so we've covered sleep for a quiet mind. But the guy also talks about not letting unrelated problems like seep into your work time.
Compartmentalization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you found that to be helpful in your own work?
Hugely helpful.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with information.
Right.
It's about creating those mental boundaries.
So you can actually focus.
Exactly, without getting sidetracked by every worry or distraction that pops up.
So it's like putting those anxieties in a little mental box
I love that image.
and being like, okay, I'll deal with you later,
Right,
but right now I need to focus on this.
exactly.
Does that actually work though?
It does for me.
Wow.
It doesn't mean ignoring those issues entirely,
Right.
but it's about acknowledging them and then consciously setting them aside.
For later.
Exactly. Give them a designated time to be dealt with. So you're not just suppressing them.
No, you're managing them.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting.
And it can be especially helpful with personal issues.
Yeah.
The kind that can easily consume your thoughts.
And just completely derail you.
Exactly.
Okay, now for the really interesting part.
Oh, I love interesting.
This guide has this thing called the productivity triangle.
Okay.
It's like a recipe for getting things done.
I'm intrigued.
And the 3 key ingredients are time,
Okay.
energy,
Uh-huh.
and attention.
The big 3.
Listener, picture this triangle with these 3 elements as the points.
I like it.
What do you think?
Each element is critical and they're all interconnected.
So you can't just focus on one.
No, it's not enough to just manage your time effectively
Right.
if you're running on empty energy-wise, or you can't focus your attention.
So it's all about balance.
Exactly. You need all 3 sides of that triangle strong and working together.
Okay, so let's break down each element a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do it.
When we talk about time management, we're not just talking about like scheduling.
Right.
It's about using tools and techniques to maximize your output.
Within the time you have available.
Okay, so it's not about cramming more tasks into your day.
No, it's about being more intentional with the time you do have
Quality over
quantity.
Okay, what about energy?
Well, we've talked about sleep.
Right, the premium fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also about things like nutrition,
Okay.
exercise, and taking breaks.
You mean like actually getting up and moving around?
Exactly. Have you ever tried to power through a task when you're exhausted?
Oh, yeah.
And it feels like you're slogging through mud.
Totally.
You end up making mistakes or having to redo things.
Which just wastes more time and energy in the long run?
Right. So taking breaks isn't about procrastination.
Okay.
It's about strategically recharging.
To come back stronger.
Exactly. So you can return to your work with renewed focus and energy.
I like that.
It's like hitting the reset button.
And then there's attention.
Ah, yes. The elusive beast.
How do we keep our attention sharp in a world that's constantly vying for it?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right.
We're bombarded with distractions, from notifications to emails to the endless scroll of social media.
Not to mention our own internal distractions.
Oh, yes.
The worries, the to-do lists swirling in our minds.
Our own personal circus.
Exactly.
That's where mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful.
Like what?
Even something as simple as taking a few deep breaths
Okay.
and focusing on the present moment can help bring your attention back to the task at hand.
I can see how that would be helpful.
It's about training your mind to stay present.
The guide mentions this Pomodoro technique.
Oh yes, a classic.
Have you ever tried that?
I have. It's all about working in focus bursts.
Like how long?
Typically 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Then after 4 cycles, you take a longer break.
So it's like interval training for your brain.
Exactly.
Love that.
And it's effective because it leverages our natural rhythms of focus and rest.
So we're not fighting against our natural tendencies.
Right, we're working with them.
I like that.
It's about finding a sustainable rhythm.
Okay, so now that we understand these elements of the productivity triangle,
Time, energy, and attention.
how do we actually measure our progress?
Ah, good question.
The guide highlights 2 ways to think about productivity.
Okay, I'm listening.
One is our general ability to produce things,
Okay.
and the other is a more specific calculation of labor output.
So it's not just about how fast you work,
Right.
but also about the effectiveness and quality of your work.
Exactly what resonates with you, listener, about these definitions.
Think about your specific goals and context
Okay.
that can help you tailor the strategies you employ.
So, like, for example, if you're a writer,
Uh-huh.
the ability to generate creative ideas and produce high-quality content might be more important than just churning out a high volume of words.
Exactly. But if you're working in a manufacturing setting,
Okay.
that labor output, the number of widgets produced per hour, might be the key metric.
Right. So it's about understanding what kind of productivity matters most for your particular situation.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Okay, now let's talk about the practical stuff.
Let's get down to business.
The guide stresses the importance of laying a solid foundation for productivity.
The groundwork.
Exactly. It emphasizes having a clear plan,
Okay.
setting ground rules, especially if you manage others,
Right.
and being prepared.
Preparation is key.
Having a clear roadmap not only provides direction, but also reduces decision fatigue.
It's like removing mental roadblocks before you even begin your journey.
I love that analogy.
It's about streamlining the process.
And this emphasis on preparation really resonates with me.
Me too.
Whether it's gathering materials for a project or simply ensuring you have a quiet workspace.
Those small acts of preparation can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. They can significantly impact your overall flow.
It's about setting yourself up for success.
What are some of your go-to preparation rituals?
Well, I always start my day by reviewing my to-do list and prioritizing the most important tasks.
Makes sense.
I also make sure my workspace is clear of clutter
Oh, yeah.
and that I have everything I need within reach.
So you're not getting up every 5 minutes to search for something.
Exactly. It's about minimizing distractions and maximizing flow.
That makes total sense. It's like setting the stage for a successful performance.
Exactly. You're the star of your own productivity show.
Now the guide gets into some specific time management hacks.
Ooh, I love a good hack.
Let's see what they've got.
I'm ready.
So they talk about estimating how long you think a task will take
Okay.
versus actually timing yourself.
Oh, interesting.
Then, like, you analyze what caused any delays.
Ah, I see.
I've tried this, and it's eye-opening.
Really?
It's amazing how those little distractions can add up.
Yeah, self-awareness is key.
Totally.
By tracking our time, we gain valuable insights into our work patterns.
Oh, so you can see, like, where you're actually spending your time.
Exactly, and identify those sneaky time wasters that erode our productivity.
It's like holding up a mirror to your workday.
I like that,
We-
and seeing where those precious minutes are actually going.
Do you have any personal examples, listener, of how time tracking has helped you?
I used to think checking email every few minutes was harmless.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But when I actually timed myself,
Uh-huh.
I realized I was losing hours each week to that habit.
It's crazy, right?
It was a wake-up call.
Yeah, for sure.
And the guide's suggestion of turning time tracking into a game or challenge,
Oh, yeah.
that's a great idea.
How would you do that?
Well, it taps into our inherent desire for achievement and progress,
Okay.
making it feel less like a chore.
So you're not just, like, dreading it.
Exactly. You're turning it into something fun and engaging.
Have you ever tried gamifying any of your tasks, listener?
I haven't tried that specifically with time tracking.
Okay.
But I do like to set mini challenges for myself.
Like what?
Like trying to beat my previous record for completing a certain task.
Oh, that's a good one.
It definitely adds a little excitement to otherwise mundane work.
It's like a little competition with yourself.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how these seemingly simple techniques can actually rewire our approach to time.
It's like you're changing your habits at a deeper level.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about shifting from a passive to an active relationship with time.
So you're not just letting time happen to you.
Exactly. We become more intentional about how we allocate our time and energy.
Rather than just reacting to whatever comes up.
Precisely. It's about taking control.
Okay, listener, get ready to declutter.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
The guide emphasizes the importance of identifying and eliminating unimportant tasks.
Ruthless prioritization.
What are your biggest time wasters?
That overflowing inbox.
Oh, yeah.
Endless scrolling on social media.
We've all got them.
You know, this part of the guide really resonated with me.
In what way?
I used to get bogged down by all these urgent tasks, but they weren't actually moving me closer to my goals.
Oh, I see.
By ruthlessly cutting out the unimportant, I was able to free up time and energy for the things that truly mattered.
So it's about aligning your actions with your priorities.
Exactly. It's about making sure you're spending your time on the right things.
Absolutely. It's like clearing out the weeds so the flowers can flourish.
And I love that analogy.
But how do we determine what's truly important?
That's a great question.
It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily tasks.
And lose sight of the big picture.
Exactly.
That's where it's crucial to have a clear understanding of your goals and values.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? What truly matters to me?
And once you have that clarity?
It becomes easier to distinguish between the essential and the non-essential.
I see. So you're not just reacting to what's in front of you.
Right. You're making conscious choices based on your values.
The guide is spot on about relegating email and social media to specific time slots.
Absolutely. No more constant inbox refreshing or mindlessly scrolling through feeds.
It's a tough habit to break.
It is, but it's so worth it.
How do you do it?
It's a constant battle, but the key is to reclaim control over our attention.
Okay.
By setting boundaries and establishing dedicated time blocks, we can minimize those digital distractions and carve out space for focused work.
What strategies have you found helpful, listener, in managing those digital distractions?
I've started using website blockers to limit my social media time.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
And it's been surprisingly effective.
Really?
It's like putting on blinders.
So you can stay focused on the task at hand.
Exactly. Those tools can be incredibly helpful in creating those virtual boundaries.
Right.
And remember, it's not about becoming a Luddite and rejecting technology altogether.
No one wants to do that.
It's about using it intentionally and not letting it control us.
So you're the master of your technology, not the other way around.
Exactly.
And it's not just about our work lives.
Right.
The guide emphasizes the concept of an all-around productive life.
I love that.
Which I love.
It's about applying these principles to everything.
Errands, even relationships.
Exactly.
Think beyond your job, listener.
How can you streamline your grocery shopping?
Right.
How can you be more present during your downtime?
That's a powerful perspective shift.
It is often we compartmentalize productivity, associating it solely with work.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. The principles of efficiency and intentionality can be applied to every facet of our lives.
It's about maximizing our time and energy.
Not just to achieve more,
Right.
but to live more fully and engage more deeply with the things that matter most.
Totally. It's like, how can we bring that same level of intention and efficiency to our personal lives?
Can we batch our errands to save time?
Oh, that's a good one.
Can we set aside dedicated time for hobbies without letting distractions creep in?
It's a fascinating challenge.
It is.
What are some ways you try to bring that productivity mindset into your personal life, listener?
It reminds me of the concept of deep work versus shallow tasks.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Deep work requires focused concentration, while shallow tasks are often more administrative or reactive.
So, like writing a novel would be considered deep work.
Exactly.
And responding to emails or scrolling through social media would be shallow tasks.
Right.
So it's about making sure you're making time for that deep work.
Exactly. And by applying productivity principles to all areas of our lives, we can create more space for those deep, meaningful activities.
That bring us joy and fulfillment.
Exactly.
Thinking about your work, listener.
What are some examples of deep work activities that you could prioritize?
And how can you structure your environment to minimize distractions during those times?
And it ties back to that idea of energy management.
Right.
When we're constantly switching between tasks and bombarded by distractions, our mental energy depletes rapidly.
So we need to protect that energy.
Exactly, by creating structure and prioritizing what truly matters. We can conserve our energy for the things we value most.
This guide has been a goldmine of practical advice. I feel like I've got a whole new toolkit for tackling my to-do list and my life in general.
Me too.
As we wrap up our deep dive,
Okay.
let's recap some of the key takeaways that really stood out.
Good idea.
First, quieting the mind. Minimizing distractions, both internal and external, is crucial
Absolutely.
for focus and clear thinking.
It's like creating that mental space for clarity.
Second, the productivity triangle: time, energy, and attention. All three elements need to be in balance.
Right, if one leg of that triangle is weak, the whole structure suffers.
Listener, if you're feeling drained,
Maybe it's time to look at your energy levels within this triangle.
are you taking enough breaks?
Is your sleep schedule supporting your work?
And third, that ruthless prioritization,
Cutting the clutter.
focusing on what truly moves the needle.
Excellent points.
What else stood out to you?
I would add the importance of self-awareness.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Identifying those time wasters and understanding your own energy patterns
That's all crucial.
for making sustainable changes.
So it's not just about like willpower.
No, it's about understanding yourself and working with your natural rhythms.
And remember, it's not about becoming a productivity robot.
No one wants to be a robot.
Right, it's about finding the strategies that work best for you.
And integrating them into your life in a way that feels authentic and sustainable.
So true. It's about working with yourself, not against yourself.
Exactly.
And the beauty of this guide is that it gives you a framework, but it encourages you to personalize it.
It's like, here are the tools.
Now go build something amazing.
Precisely, it empowers you to become the architect of your own productivity system.
Tailored to your unique needs and goals.
And that's incredibly powerful.
Now, before we go, I want to leave you with something to ponder, listener.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked a lot about external productivity techniques, but what about the inner game?
Mindset and motivation.
How can we cultivate a mindset that supports productivity?
Right. How do we get in the zone?
How can we tap into our intrinsic motivation to fuel our efforts?
It's like having all the right tools and equipment, but lacking the fuel to power the engine.
Such a good analogy.
Mindset and motivation are the fuel that drives us towards our goals.
So it's not just about having the right systems in place.
Right. It's also about having the right attitude and drive.
It's like building those mental muscles. Resilience, discipline, even a sense of playfulness.
Absolutely. Embracing a growth mindset can be incredibly empowering.
Where we view challenges as opportunities for learning.
Exactly. And finding ways to connect with the intrinsic joy in our work can be a game changer.
In terms of sustained motivation.
What are some things that bring you joy in your work, listener?
How can you cultivate more of that feeling?
It's about finding that spark.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
I agree.
I feel so much more equipped to boost my productivity.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on this productivity adventure, listener.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, stay curious, stay focused, and keep diving deep.